Welcome everybody to the OK Grognard Show. It is Monday, May 4th, 2020, 9:30 a.m. Central Time in beautiful Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. As per the new schedule, we're here at 9:30 a.m. and also on Mondays we're doing a weekly news and giveaway report. Just wanted to let everybody know that the weekly winner for last week, April 26th to May 2nd, morning Hobbs, was Haplo22. May the 4th be with you too, Hobbsy. Good to have you all here, Sarah. And also Ngorgio's here. I popped in on Ngorgio's channel over the weekend a couple of times to check on some of his games. Also on Hobbs Games on Twitch. Both run some really fun looking games. Their players are certainly enjoying themselves. Also saw Hobbs in a game where he was playing, but still handling the technical aspects of it while someone else was DMing, which is interesting. I get into the conversation a couple of times more recently, or have gotten in the conversation regarding Twitch channel perspective. Do you stream what is visible to the Dungeon Master? Does it make much difference between what's visible to the Dungeon Master and what's visible to the players? Is it more fun for an audience to view it from the player perspective and not see behind the curtain when a DM might be, say on Roll20, bringing some assets, whether it's creature tokens or just physical setting stuff, over to a page underneath on the GM layer before revealing them to the players? Is that something we don't want to show as people who are running a stream and running a game, say on Roll20? If mainly what you've got is just a series of encounter maps and you've got them all set up and you're looking at, say, an overland map and then switching into encounter mode and just moving from encounter to encounter, and they're already set up on separate pages so that anything that would be seen on the stream is all seen at the same time. Your players are usually in chat, Hobbs? Yeah, I'm hearing it, as are yours, yeah. Now, when you say in chat, I know from watching both of your streams that I'm seeing the players, I'm seeing them visually, mostly, although some don't use cameras, and also hearing them, and then seeing the background maps in the background and stuff. Is that stuff that only they see? Oh, you show their view. Okay. So everything you're doing, Hobbs, on I'm assuming you use Roll20, is not directly seen by the players, or the stream rather, and what's seen on the stream is exactly what the players only see as you reveal it. That's pretty neat. Someone has suggested using a couple of different browsers and creating a separate account that allows me to act as a GM for what I want to do, and then for the stream, getting the player's view. Either doing that separately as a player, or just streaming what their actual view is. Hobbs, are you using a Google Hangouts, or are you using just Roll20 and using the voice and chat on Roll20? And same question for you, Ngorgio. Use two different browsers and rejoin one as a player. I see. Use Discord for the AV. You don't need a separate account. Just two different browser windows. Okay. The one doesn't disrupt the other then. And E220, I'm not familiar with. I'm not familiar with that term or what that means. Different browser rejoin. I show the DM side, and Gorgio says I add extra encounters to the map that I don't plan to use just in case some of the players try to take a peek. I use Discord as well. Use Fantasy Grounds though for the VTT. That's true. I've seen your games, and they definitely have that Fantasy Grounds appearance. Chrome and Firefox. I see what you're saying. Okay. Hobbs, yeah. And then you can open Roll20 in each of those and join one as a player and one as a DM. Do you then show up when you're showing up as a player? Hey, Game Master's Vault. Thanks for coming. Just want to add you guys in real quick to next week's drawing so that you're included in that. Let's see, I gotta add that in. I got Game Master's Vault, I got Hobbs, I got Engorgio, and I also need to put Artanis in there. There it is, Artanis 8242. Okay, that brings that up to snuff. There we go. Happy Star Wars, yep. May the 4th and all that. Hola, hola, hola. I just want to show people that and let people know Haplo22, Chris Brown, is the winner for last week's dice set. I've been in contact with him. He has yet to choose either charcoal or navy. I hope to be able to get by the Memorial Stone tomorrow, because Tuesday is kind of my day out and about. I choose Tuesday because I'm old and get a Piggly Wiggly discount on Tuesdays for being over 55, so can't leave money on the table. We'll go run around and do some errands tomorrow. We can pick up an extra case of Spotted Cow. And Hobbs, thanks for popping in. Just show your view when you're playing in the other player's game. Very good. So you're streaming their game, but they're running it behind the scenes. You're just... They're actually... I thought you were doing all the technical aspects, but you're just doing the technical streaming part. Well, we will catch you again soon. Thank you very much. So Chris is going to have a choice between charcoal or navy, and he has chosen navy. He couldn't jump into the chat today because he is doing a little homeschooling. He's chosen the navy set. Of course, that comes also with a D20. The charcoal will be up for a giveaway this week. And I've got Engorgio, Hobbs, Games Master Vault, Artanis 8242 already added in. as potential winners. Hopefully we'll see some more folks popping in to the chat today and in future days. I want to discuss a little bit about CoboldCon over the weekend. I got involved in a couple of first edition games on Friday and yesterday, Sunday. Most of what I did was quote-unquote seminars, I guess. Sometimes they were talks. Bill Petrosky on Saturday used Zoom to run his. I've sat in on his before. He's a very good speaker. There's not a lot of dead air when he goes through his talks. They're very polished and professional. He does Q&A toward the ends of them. But my big takeaway from his episodic, and I've truncated that, but episodic storytelling is really the gist of what he was discussing. And my big takeaway was that I should be more cognizant of narration, that is the exposition in between encounters, definitely when opening up the adventure, when beginning the adventure, and when discussing things between encounters, and even when answering questions, that narration that goes on there is in itself a character. And while that character can primarily be just you, which is fine enough, giving it a little bit of character and making it a bit more polished, knowing what I'm going to say to start the game off, knowing what sorts of things, information I plan to impart that evening, and making sure it's complete and detailed and understood from the perspective of a narrator and further from the perspective of the players is something I could do better. Even as was being discussed in the seminar, there were moments of games just in the last year where I thought about instances where I might have been able to step up my game when it came to the quote-unquote narrator of the game's interaction with the players. There were a couple of enjoyable mapping. Kirk Mendel does this fantastic leatherworking mapping, and made a map on his Twitch channel based off of suggestions from the audience. So too, he, Kirk Mendel, who is also Cave Geek Art, did a joint stream with Alyssa Faden and Jake. So there were three of them in there, all working on different layers of a shared whiteboard to create a underground cavern filled with giant mushrooms and little villages and all sorts of very neat things. So that was a lot of fun. That stream, I believe, is still up on Cave Geek Art and probably will be for a couple of weeks. I don't believe that disappears until 14 days have elapsed. So if you're on Twitch and at some point you want to look up Cave Geek Art, then check that out and watch how they jointly made a cavern map together. The leather map that Kirk Mendel put together was an island nation, so it was a wider perspective view than the cavern map, and that was pretty neat too. Very much enjoyed that. The Q&A with Tim Kask on Friday was a lot of fun. Always some new stories with him. And one of them was regarding the hats that they were wearing. That's still up over there. I'm sure you can on the what's the channel? What's the channel all that stuff was on? I'm drawing a blank right now, and I shouldn't be. Wizards of the Couch. And the Tricks of the Trade talk with Steve Chenault from Troll Lords Games was a lot of fun. I also popped in Sunday evening on another chat with him and with Luke Gygax and Alyssa Faden, the three of them talking about Gaxmore. You can check in on that. And catch up with how that project is finished up and when availability will be. The D&D games I was in, the first edition game, the Kobold's the one that opened the weekend. It was a lot of fun, but Discord only, Theater of the Mind. I don't know that virtual gaming lends itself, from my own personal taste, to Theater of the Mind so much. I'm such a fan of tactical combats as a component of the games that when they're not there at all except through Theater of the Mind, the games don't feel as complete to me. So as much as I enjoyed the people I was playing with and Joseph's running of the game, which was all good and fine and perfectly what it was supposed to be, because it was advertised as that. This is not me being surprised that the game didn't include something that I had hoped it would. This was me trying something different and discovering that for my own gaming, I enjoy having a gridded battle mat and pseudo miniatures in the forms of tokens as part of the game. Now, I'm not saying that it's one combat right after another that I enjoy. I'm not talking about running a small series of skirmish wargame encounters. There's got to be as much role-playing in between, before, and after, and all of that, with these encounters being at least a potential part of it. If the group wants to sit around in town and just talk to people, that's all well and good. I wouldn't want to run that game as an entire campaign. But by the same token, I wouldn't want to run nothing but combats all the time. So I like a mix. I'm not sure there's a definite percentage to it. I probably lean a little bit toward the tactical combat side. I like the action of miniatures combats in RPGs. And I'm also saying that RPGing is happening during the miniatures combats as well. So they're not devoid of that aspect of the game. Whenever combat starts, RPGing doesn't switch off. So that's important too, because I've definitely played plenty of miniatures combat games where there's no RPGing, obviously, because that's not the intent of them, and it's fine for me if those are what they are, but they're not the kind of combats I would run during a role-playing game. Further, the Sunday game, Castle Thrax. This was a self-published 1984 adventure that I got to play with Paul, who goes by Michael Mirth as a professional name. He's a professional magician. He's worked the Magic Castle. He's done all sorts of shows nationwide. Obviously, that's slowed down for him temporarily. I asked him a little bit about that. He did say that he knows other magicians that are attempting to do some things through Zoom and other virtual meeting places, and I don't know exactly how he feels about that. He didn't say that he was trying it himself or planning to. So I think he's kind of waiting things out. In the meantime, he's a longtime gamer, and he ran his event. I sadly died about 3/4 of the way through. I had an elf fighter magic user. We went into the castle. We found some secret ways in that led us fairly quickly to what we suspected and later were confirmed was the big boss. So we kind of sidestepped a lot of tricks and traps and stuff. We stepped right into a few. But I was taken out by a nasty bit of lightning, electrical damage. I won't go into too much detail because I don't want to give any spoilers, but needless to say, as an elf, when I was toast, and I was way toasted, I was done. That was it. Of course, I stuck around and listened in and enjoyed and let the rest of the group finish out the adventure time and do as much as they could, and I think they were 85% successful. Once we dealt with the big battles, they had some mopping up to do to clear out the rest of Castle Thrax. And yeah, overall success for the party. Sad for my character, but that's first edition D&D. We live, we die, and sometimes it's glorious, and sometimes it's just being toasted. That was my fate. But it was a fun group to play with, good players, and DMing once again. This was all done on Zoom. So aside from flashing us the occasional illustration, and we were using video. It was a video chat. But aside from showing us a few illustrations, we were doing theater of the mind type stuff. So once again, so once again, we're talking about as fun as it was not quite my not quite the way that I enjoy virtual gaming, online gaming. My preference still is going to be, and it's just, and I knew getting in, this was going to be a Zoom theater of the mind kind of game, so it's all well and good, and it was a good game for all that. But once again, when dealing with the tactical combat and that sort of thing, I like having a grid and miniatures, at least miniatures. I'm okay with measuring things if we don't have a grid. That's what I like bringing to the game. So, what do we got? We've got that. We've got that. We had a few other things to discuss. We're just about done. That's the news for the weekend. Later this week, actually, coming up in a few weeks. Don't forget, Con of Champions. Still need your support. I'm going to be running some games. I'll be using Roll20. I currently am planning on using Discord, but if over the next couple of weeks I find that I don't need it because the Roll20 voice and video chat is up to snuff, which I'm being told is doing quite well, then I will just use the video and voice chat that are in Roll20 and just not use Discord. If we're using Roll20 or anyway, it might be easier just to use those. Notice the mirroring here. There's some symmetry between Sunday and Monday for these events. This is by design. So, on Saturday, I've got 3 D&D games scheduled. They're 3 hours apiece. It's all first edition. I've got a first level game, a third level game, and a fifth level game. Characters can carry over. I'll have pre-gens for each one of those. But if somebody's playing in the first one, second one, and third one, or some combination thereof, and there's no conflict with multiple people wanting the same characters, then they can certainly play the same character going through. Note, too, that the Monday games will mirror in some ways the Saturday games. In essence, I'll be using the same assets for those games. So we've got Street Brawls for the first level characters. We've got Tower Assaults for the third level characters. And we're going to have something that begins in a tavern but may go beyond that for the fifth level characters. I'll be using the same assets from Saturday to Monday for each of these games, but they will be different games. They will transpire differently. They will have different surprises. They will have different underlying themes. So if you want to play in all 6 of them, you're not going to be playing the same game twice. I'm planning on using somewhat different pre-gens from Monday, although I may still use the same ones. We'll have to see. I'm running an Architects of the West Kingdom game on Tabletopia on Sunday, and then otherwise on Sunday I'll probably just be relaxing. All these times are central, by the way. Mountain Time, Cobalt Con was using Mountain Time, was on Mountain Time, so that threw me off a little bit going into it, but once we were up and running, that was all good. This is all on Central Time. Tabletop Events is, I believe, based in Madison, so that's their thing. That's going to be that, and later in the week, we've got the rest of the schedule for the OK Grognard show. Notice on Tuesday, what used to be cartography and world building on Monday is now moved to Tuesday with the new schedule. Wednesday is still be campaign discussion, mostly Grimbald, since that's what I'm running these days. And, you know, a lot of that will translate to just about anybody's gaming. We're going to try something new on Wednesday, crafting, painting, I don't know. That's going to be Thursday. I may switch that around sometime in the future, but right now that's the plan. Thursdays, crafting and painting. Friday, building virtual tabletop adventures. We're going to start letting you peek behind the screen as I do my own process of building virtual tabletop adventures, so you can watch me do some work on some of those. Saturday still, DM Cartoon Reviews, a running review of a episode of various animated shorts. I think we're still going to be doing the Dungeons and Dragons one this Saturday, episode 7. If you feel like syncing it up, we don't use sound because it's how you have to review things to stay correct on the copyright. And Sunday we do a rules retrospective. I did some stuff on initiative yesterday, had some audio problems, but I still got 12 and a half, 13 good minutes of video, so I just kept it as is. We may revisit initiative too because there's more to talk about in regard to its history. Well, look, we're at the 30-minute mark, so I am going to say thank you. And Giorgio enjoyed some first edition recently. I'm glad. I'm a big fan. I like all the editions in varying degrees. Had a lot of fun running 3 different 5th edition campaigns. But I got back to my roots with first edition stuff, and I've always run first edition. I don't even think I stopped running it while I was running those 5th edition campaigns. So it's all good and it's all fun and it's all RPGing. I want to thank everyone for watching. Thanks for stopping by the chat. I appreciate it. We've got you all in for the weekly giveaway for next week, but don't be shy about popping back out later in the week for other events, other shows, and thank you. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe, like the video. Don't like it if you want. It doesn't bother me. Either way, it actually adds to the if you dislike a video, it counts the same way that liking a video does. So, just a word of warning. If you're disliking a video to cause me some trouble or express some because you dislike the concept of the show or whatever, you do yourself a disservice because disliking counts the same as a like as far as the algorithms and stuff are concerned. But do like stuff if you like it, and subscribe for sure. As far as Twitch is concerned, make sure you follow. And while you're here doing a live stream, make sure you speak up in the chat because that gets you in on the giveaway. We've got one more set of dice to give away for next week, the charcoal set. And then after that, I think we have the excellent Thaddeus Moore's got a set of patches. Hobbs knows him as Thaddeus Patches Moore. He's offered up a set of those for the following giveaway. And then we've got other things in the works. I've got some Hildebrandt posters. You might be familiar with those. I've got some other stuff, so please continue to join us. Once again, thank you, everybody. Have a good day.